Yo. So, right out of the gate, Metallica fucking commented on your thing.
You're not wasting any time with that shit.
No, I feel like I can't today because you know what? This is a Reviewculous, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little more off the cuff. It's a little looser. It's a little more playful. I guess.
Yeah.
Should we just start?
Yes, well, I mean that had to be the start. For those of you who don't know, occasionally it's there's a little bit of time before we actually just start the show, but this is the first time that we popped on the Zoom, and then that's
I was just so excited to talk about it, man. That's fucking crazy.
I mean, yeah. So whoever the social media guy is, or if it's more than one person, I don't know. I don't know how the whole thing works. But they, I mean, I don't know if they necessarily comment on other people's videos too. I've never gone to look. I'm assuming that they do. I'm just going to make some fucking noise here. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, I posted a YouTube video where I unboxed the Load box set.
Hell yeah,
And
you did.
In the video, I was questioning whether or not something on a disc was the same as something from one of the fan cans, and so later on, Metallica commented and said, there's nothing from the fan cans. This is what this is, and that comment was already good enough. But then they commented on their comment and said, something to the effect of, don't act like I don't have this fucking saved on my phone. They said, the second comment said, I hope we get to see a follow-up after you've taken in all 1,839 minutes. Look forward to hearing what you think. So that means I got to do another video. But then later on, because they reposted like on their socials my video and my reaction to them commenting on my video, and then all of a sudden I got a DM. I'll show everybody in the video. This is because I saved it as a screenshot. It's Metallica literally just DM'd me and just said, "Don't forget." And I said, of course I won't. And then they gave me another little tidbit about something else in the Load box set. About the Rorschach cards. But like, Metallica slid into my DMs on Friday night.
That's wild.
Whoever that
That's
might be.
like,
I mean,
that's like, honestly, my version of that is when Gus Johnson commented on that metal remix I did of like him doing some shouty bits in a skit one time, and I turned it into a metal song.
Yeah.
And like, huge inspiration on me getting started doing the whole YouTube thing in the first place.
Yeah.
And so to have someone with millions of subscribers say that to you, let alone fucking Metallica, who, yeah. Like,
I also, I was very aware that there are a lot of other people who do the same sort of shit that I do. So I busted my ass to do the unboxing and get it posted as quickly as possible. Like literally, I met the UPS guy at the door and I came right in here. I turned everything on and then I did the video and then I edited it immediately and posted it immediately because I know what it's like. And I may be bigger than some YouTubers, but I'm still small potatoes in the grand scheme of things. And so I do whatever I can to like stand out somehow. So in this case, it worked. And, probably in a week or two, I'm going to be doing a video because I'm going to be taking time to actually, to go through everything in the box set. And I'll do a review video of all the content in the box set. Because I have to. Like, if they went out of their way to comment from some little dude like me, then I'm going to do it. And also I'm going to keep that in my back pocket because, whenever I do Metallica stuff, I'm just going to, I'm going to DM them back. Like, hey, don't forget me. Don't forget me. Why don't you tell Lars to come do an interview with me? But who knows where that's even gonna fucking go? Because I do have those moments. I've had those moments in my YouTube career. I've had those moments where something really cool happens and I'm like, I'm on my way up, and then it kind of just goes, and I go, okay, well, I'm just kind of still here. But it's been a slow process, but that's a big leap when all of a sudden Metallica's reposting your stuff and commenting on your stuff and DMing you, whatever. So, so much so that I had to do that thing where you clicked on the profile to make sure it was actually Metallica. You know, like that one meme, like it's Jem Shetfield. I broke my guitar. How do I know this is really James Hetfield? Give me fuel, give me fire, give me double trouble. Speaking of that, not really speaking of Metallica, but I got a new sound on here that I don't know why I didn't already have this sound on my soundboard, but this is a necessity. This is a good one to get us going. Like this, you ready to feel pumped up and ready to do the show? All right, here we go.
God damn it, baby, you know I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time.
There you go.
Nice. You cannot go wrong with some David Lee Roth action, kicking things off.
I just always loved that part, and isolated. It sounds so funny. What the fuck are you even talking about, dude?
I just love the fact that he appears to be he's just his own. He's his own breed of frontman, dude. Human. Yeah, the guy is crazy. Like,
yeah,
he's awesome, crazy awesome. Like, yeah,
and utterly entertaining. Just listening to him speak anytime.
Yeah.
And it's anyway, that was. But yeah, so that was some excitement, and I saw Metallica last night here in Houston.
Oh, cool.
At the NRG Stadium, which. Like, I know there's no other way I'm going to see Metallica, so that's why I go. But I don't like, for the most part, stadium shows. Because the way that it always works out to me is especially for a band like Metallica, they know how to do it. They know how to make it feel like the stadium is not, so big. But it only really lasts for me for about half the show. First half of the show, I'm totally engaged, and I'm like, oh my God. But then it gets to a point where they start playing. You know where the rest of the set's going to go. You're just like, oh, okay, I know everything else they're going to play. And then all of a sudden I'm all like, these seats are really cramped. There's sweaty dudes right next to me. It's really steep in these big stadium things. In order to I guess keep people a little bit closer, the things are steep. So literally, if I just jumped up, I would just roll down the fucking off of the ramp. It's like. And so after a little bit, and we were in the nosebleeds for this show. And it's so after about half the show, I just start going, oh my God, I'm really uncomfortable here. But they were great. And I went to the pop-up shop. When this video comes out, a video will come out of a little vlog of my weekend where I went to the pop-up shop. I had to wait in line for 3 hours to get in, and then I went to go see the documentary, Metallica Saved My Life, on Friday night. That's all in there. It's all in the video, so you may have already watched it if you're watching this right now. But it was a fun weekend, a fun Metallica weekend, and the added bonus of them commenting on my shit. So that's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the one thing is that if the day actually comes when they're like, hey, you want to interview somebody from the band, whoever that might be, it could be Rob or Kirk. We're not worthy. It's just going to be, I'm not going to know what to say, and I'm just going to be like, it's a Creeping Death. It's awesome. Awesome song. They did last night. They started with 3 Ride the Lightning songs in a row. They did Creeping Death, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and Ride the Lightning, which I thought was weird. I'm like, why didn't you play them in the row of the album? That would have been cool, but they switched it up a little bit. But
it's fun to shake things up live.
No Saint Anger though. They didn't play anything from Saint Anger because it was a one night show. Because a lot of the other dates are 2 nights.
Are they playing much Load stuff lately because of the Load box set and stuff like that?
They didn't last night. They played two reloads. They played Memory Remains and Fuel. But yeah, the only thing that I wasn't expecting them to play that was cool was the day that never comes from Death Magnetic.
Nice. Death Magnetic got kind of neglected for a while.
Yeah. But I don't know. But it was, you know, I'm just rehashing shit I said in my video, so I won't go into that. But it's a good show. It's fucking Metallica. I always love seeing them. But yeah, and there are people that see them like hundreds of times, and I'm all like, do you ever get to that point where you're at the end of the show, you're like, okay, so now we got to do Master Puppets, Seek and Destroy, Enter Sandman, Nothing Else Matters. You get to that point where you're like, here's what they're going to play. Okay, so what do we? It's like there's no surprises, and so it's, you know, I don't know. I think even for my favorite band in the world, I want there to be a variety of things going on.
Well,
but yes.
Yeah, so we're doing a Reviewculous episode.
Yeah, it's a C&R Sidebar, Reviewculous. I don't even know what number Reviewculous this is because we had that one when we didn't call it Reviewculous, when we just somehow stumbled upon reading. Was it? It was that one episode where we decided that we weren't going to plan anything at all. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then we just started reading reviews and reacting to them. And then I think we did another one where we called it Reviewculous. So this is probably Reviewculous 3, The Search for Spock. Or what's another third movie? Subtitle?
I don't know.
What's the third Matrix called? Is that one that's called like Revelations or Revolution? Reloaded. That's the number 2, isn't it? Matrix Reloaded and then Matrix or something. Okay.
Dude, I need to make a confession. I have not got around to the Matrix movies.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
If you can get around to the first one, it's fun. I haven't watched the most recent one because the second and third, I was just like, whoo, can't. Sorry, guys. This totally lost me on those two movies. Anyway,
is it true that the two people, the brothers that made the Matrix both became women?
I think so.
That's wild.
Yeah,
both
of them.
brothers. Yeah.
Sisters.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah,
frankly,
exactly. But I believe so. I don't know enough about them to really say, but so yeah, Reviewculous was born out of a thing where we were just reading reviews, and we were fascinated by people writing positive reviews for albums that are normally shit on, or negative reviews for albums that are normally praised, and we usually have been relying on the Metal Archives. Encyclopedia Metallum.
There's a really good way to filter good and bad reviews. So if you go onto their thing, that you can just click reviews, and then they're ordered by percentage that was given to the album.
Yeah. Which is what somebody commented and said, in order to open up what we can talk about, we could do Rate Your Music. And I went and looked at Rate Your Music, but there's no way to filter the reviews.
Yeah,
we would literally just be scrolling through all these reviews trying to find one, and that would be a boring show.
Yeah, so there would either that or there would be a lot more editing involved, and we like to keep things pretty free flowing here.
I'm a busy man, guys.
Yeah, we both are. But this poor motherfucker has to edit this shit. Yeah. I just rock out and do goofy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I've simplified everything so much to where it's way easier on me than it used to be.
We're optimizing our workflow, you see.
Yes, I'll have those TPS reports right over to you.
That'd be great.
So we just picked things and we haven't planned this once again. So did you have any albums in mind that you wanted to go look at? And
I'm thinking I'm just gonna pick a band, and then I'm gonna pick the lowest review I find.
Oh, okay.
So I've got here. I've searched up one already.
Oh, okay.
I've got one for MTV Unplugged, Alice in Chains.
Oh, okay.
This one's titled "Unplugged and Unwell 30%."
Unwell. Okay.
And again, like I say, this is not our words. These are the words of other people who have left reviews, and we're putting our 2 cents in and seeing if we agree or disagree. So, without further ado, shall we let the Reviewculous shenanigans begin?
Yeah, roll that beautiful bean footage.
Okay, so this is Unplugged and Unwell, 30% out of 100 by Vorth, from July 3rd, 2009. Let's get it straight. The only possible reason why you might be interested in this kind of release is to hear how bad a group like Alice in Chains can sound unplugged. To make matters worse, this show was recorded while the band was already torn apart, with Lane desperately trying to cover up his weakening vocal skills and with the band's overall creativity long gone. Another problem with Alice in Chains is that they have always been too metallic to be turned into delicate and elegant acoustic group. What we have here is
except for all the acoustic songs that they did.
Exactly. Yeah, I was about to say. Jar of Flies, Sap, and various songs from fucking Tripod.
Yeah.
What we have here is a crude, troubled heroin addict singing about pain and anger and trying to make it sound subtle. It just doesn't work this way.
Yeah.
This misses the mark.
I honestly, I put the Unplugged albums at the bottom of my rankings for these original things from these bands like Nirvana or Alice in Chains. That they're my least favorite, but I do really like them. So, but whenever I hear somebody immediately like start bringing up the heroin thing, because if you're listening to Alice in Chains Unplugged, you can't hear that he does heroin. And so this is somebody who has a problem with drug addicts, and that's not the right way to handle that, folks.
No. Well, here's the crazy thing. I'm only halfway through.
Okay.
So this leads Alice in Chains to picking the softer songs, no matter if they're good or not. Some sound defective due to removing the metallic part. Down in a Hole, Rooster, Got Me Wrong. Some were bad at the start, Heaven Beside You. Some sound ridiculous, Wood. Finally, all are wrecked by Lane, who is simply unable to sing properly. Not fucking true.
What? I don't know. Maybe he got a different version. He bought the Temu version of Alice in Chains Unplugged.
So this right here is Unplugged shows how a ravaging rock legend turns into a tiny glitter, which is surely worth seeing just to remember and learn. Hopefully this glum picture will never be taken as the band's epitaph. I prefer to remember Alice in Chains from Facelift, for instance. So what I think we have here is someone who thought Alice in Chains were probably a bit more hair metal than they expected, and when they got that bait and switch, felt a bit bitter about it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Whenever we read these reviews, I'm always like, I need a backstory of the person that wrote it. I'm all like, how old are you? Did you just discover this band? Like, because I mean, obviously, like there are things that will color your opinion in a different way, but yeah, I'll be the first to say I will go to the Unplugged albums last, and I am one of those people that I prefer the Nirvana Unplugged over the Alice in Chains Unplugged, but that's just me. But even the Nirvana Unplugged has issues. I can critique the fuck out of that damn thing, but I don't know. It is what it is. But I don't know. I always felt like albums like that need to be treated as like gravy. It's like there are actual albums if you want to go listen to actual Alice in Chains. If you're a huge fan, hey, guess what? You also can listen to this Unplugged album. That's what I look at those albums like. It's just like, don't judge it like it's like they meant it to be as good as all these other things. It was just they were asked to do MTV Unplugged, and they said yes, and then they did it, and MTV recorded it and put it out. It's like, so it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's the thing that I say where people are shitty at reviewing stuff because they approach everything the exact same way every time. Like the movie reviewer that thinks every movie's supposed to be The Godfather. And so they'll go see the new David Spade or what's that? What Adam Sandler movie? And they're going to be like, I don't know why the cinematographer didn't do anything interesting. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you fucking film bros, jump off a cliff. Anyway, yeah, I pulled up a band because I was just like thinking like who haven't we read a review from, and I'm like, have we read a Sacred Reich review? Anything from Sacred Reich? I don't think we have.
We have not.
So I pulled them up and I clicked on the album Heal because I think the album Heal is not only one that is overlooked, but also I feel like that it gets a little bit of hate. And so maybe I'll read. But funny enough, like there's only one low review, but I have to read it because you just from the title of this review, you know that this person is a piece of human garbage.
Is it the one that says the Royal Seal of Gayness, 16th in class?
Yes, the Royal Seal of Gayness is their review for the Sacred Reich album Heal from 1996 when that one came out?
Yeah.
I have my tablet here, everybody. So I'm going to read this, and already I have no respect for this motherfucker, but let's do it. During most of the 1980s, thrash metal was one doing the thrashing. Was the one doing the thrashing. Okay. But for the lion's share of the 1990s, the most crude yet beloved of art forms was the sad subject of much thrashing at the hands of John Q. label executive. Front and center among the ranks of those that opted to succumb rather than hang it all up was Sacred Reich, an Arizona-based outfit that made a respectable splash in 1987 after the mold of the darker side of the Bay Area sound and ignorance before proceeding a gradual process of maturing their sound, maturing naturally being a code word for self-castration. Oh, Jesus Christ. So once again, there's another telltale sign there. It's like, you equate good with having balls. Testicles. At the tail end of their subpar to downright pathetic showing in the 90s is Heal, an album that continues the practice of modernizing in the same way that Independent had 3 years prior, ergo dumbing down an already simplified style to the point of contrived monotony in a fashion typical of Pantera and Annihilator at around the same time. Did Pantera did that? I thought they just made... Anyway. One positive thing can be said for this album, at least in relation to the last one, is that it is a bit more consistent in where it wants to go, namely in the Pantera direction. For a band that expresses a consistently left-wing political message, damned if they didn't just ape about every idea typical to the Southern groove character of Dimebag Darrell and other sludgy acts associated with Phil Anselmo's various side projects, to the point where this could almost be a poor man's A Great Southern Trendkill minus the good parts, which in my opinion is the worst Pantera album, but hey, whatever. It definitely has a heavy, albeit mechanical aesthetic and perhaps a slightly greater degree of emphasis on the faster side of the groove coin as Annihilator's Refresh the Demon. That's a name of an album, Refresh the Demon. They give him a mint. They gave the demon a mint.
I think his website isn't loading.
Particularly on songs like Blue Suit, Brown Shirt, Breakthrough, and the more punk-infused Don't. Sadly, the songs come off as even less engaging, being more fast for the sake of it without any sense of busyness. I think I spelled that wrong. That usually goes with a fast thrasher, and even the guitar soloing work comes off as a bit lazy, though thankfully less sloppy and out of tune as what was heard on Independent. Out of tune? Out of tune? So yeah, this dude doesn't know much about music, but that was mine. It's not part of the thing, but he clearly doesn't. While this thing manages to pick up a couple points for coming off as a tad bit less grungy and plotting than its predecessor, it cancels almost all of it out with a near equal degree of monotony in songwriting, treading waters that were basically being tread everywhere circa 1996. So this is obviously written in the future. So anyway, after the album came out. So it's easy to look back, and when you have a very limited scope and a limited knowledge of music, the one thing that these people will do is what is it called? Where you oversimplify. You'll say things like all music was just dumbing down trying to be grunge, and if you were there at the time, it didn't. So anyway. With no accounting for distinctiveness. This can arguably be best demonstrated by the lame, groovy Southern rocker Ask Ed, an ode to smoking pot that listens more like an ode to bestiality on the bayou. Okay. Phil Wren does pull off a competent John Bush imitation on here with shades of Anselmo, while the leads do occasionally become engaging. What?
I'm sorry, that has to be a band name now. Bestiality on the Bayou.
Maybe that should be a Creedence Clearwater Revival cover band that's all done like sludgy, like metal. Bestiality on the Bayou.
It ain't me.
Down on the corner.
Willie the boys are playing.
Where the fuck was I? Something said that. While the leads do occasionally become engaging with an assortment of bluesy meandering, but the skeleton of the song is way too contrived to survive multiple listens. I mean, it's supposed to be a fun song. It's not, whatever. Once again, judging everything by the same template. Yeah. So stop doing that, people. Other mid-pace plotters like Low and Heel draw from the Pantera well, with even less accounting for subtlety, and come off as even more contrived. Perhaps the lone exception where things get kind of engaging is the Oingo Boingo cover, which is reinterpreted in more of a hardcore punk meets vulgar display of power fashion. This person, I guarantee you from all of these comments, all of these things in his review, like the one band he actually knows is Pantera.
Yeah. Seems to be a frame of reference that you bring it up.
Which is reinterpreted and okay, blah, 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 blah. Manages to be kind of fun in spite of itself. For the life of me, I cannot understand the inordinate amount of praise this album receives. It doesn't receive a lot of praise in various metal outlets in relation to relatively tepid praise or lukewarm reception of Independent. That one was well received. I don't know I don't remember it not being well received. And this is basically the same boring collection of repetitive drivel, but with a slightly meatier guitar sound. It flows in one ear, then back out the other, sounding like just about every other Pantera. And God, there's the fucking Pantera thing again. I've never heard that album and thought Pantera, but I guess it's groovy metal. I don't know. Came and went before 1993 and 1998, and wouldn't have been a memory had it not come out of a band that had already made a name for itself doing something better. There's a reason why none of these songs ever enjoy a position on any of Sacred Reich's live releases, and there is also a reason why this didn't get a follow-up, as the band probably killed any credibility they had with their original core audience. Don't be misled by the brutal-looking album cover. This has all the intensity and metallic luster of a head of rotten lettuce. It's a very heavy album. Once again, so this dude's name is Hell's Unicorn. Let's go check out his profile, because this dude, he's a male. He's 45. I don't know if he was 45 when he created this or if he is now. If he's 45, he should fucking know better. But once again, a lot of people around my age stopped listening and paying attention to music when they were like 20 and 21. And then all of a sudden they thought they knew everything and they never bothered to actually rethink anything or try anything new. And so then when they need to be, oh, I'm a metalhead. Let me tell you about metal. Cool. What's the last metal album you listened to? I don't know. I was busy watching football and playing video games. Okay, thanks. It says he's been a writer for the Metal Observer webzine for about 16 years now. Well, you need to quit. Oh my God! I played lead guitar for Frost Giant, folk melodic death metal hardcore. Okay. You can go fuck yourself. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's.
If that's not a song title, I don't know what it is. Folk melodic death metal hardcore. Okay, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
The okay, go fuck yourself is in brackets. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna read that like I used to read those ones. Folk melodic death metal hardcore. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't think an album like Heal is an album that everybody's supposed to like. But that's my problem with reviews, is that sometimes you just don't like something because it doesn't connect with you and you don't like it. And then you spend so much time trying to put together 4 rambling paragraphs and you're trying your best to like come across sounding intelligent talking about music, but it just really like seems like you don't get it. You don't understand different music. And the best thing to do is to just generalize everything and put everything in a little box. And that's why reviews are used. That's why I don't do a whole lot of album reviews, because in the ones that I do, I like to do it in more of a conversation, because I'm just like, yeah, the reviews are so dumb. They're so dumb. Every kind of review is dumb. Even the ones I do, dumb.
Dumb, 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 dumb.
So anyway, that was Sacred Reich Heal. I really like that album, but I also really like Sacred Reich. So I mean, I don't know. I like everything they've done, and yeah. Anyway, do you have a place we're going now?
I have a place we're going now, and this is a pretty recent review posted on May 9th, 2025 by 666 Amen. I warn you of the fate proven true too late. This is a 38% review on Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Oh.
And
did we read one of these before, Rust in Peace one, where I was convinced that they had listened to the remixed version?
Well, here's the thing. This is so recent, I couldn't have read it before.
Yeah. Let's hear. Oh my God! Like I don't throw around the word perfect very often, but Rust in Peace is a perfect album to me. The original mix,
the OG
production wise, I would not take off any song, even fucking Dawn Patrol. I think has a place in that album, and it fits perfectly, and it sounds great. I fucking love that album. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is pretty lengthy. It's a pretty lengthy one, but I urge
That's what she said.
I urge you to interject only when you absolutely get so pissed off you got to say it. So we're gonna treat you like
I will try to hold it together as long as possible.
But as soon as you feel pissed enough to dive in, go in. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I'm gonna let you charge up a little though, because I've skimmed a couple lines and I think, oh, he's gonna eat this guy alive.
And it's funny because I usually love it when people talk shit about Megadeth and Dave Mustaine, but like in the case of this album, I'm all like, come on, read the room, fucker.
Right. So without further ado, I warn you of the fate proven true too late. 38%. 666 Amen, May 9th, 2025. Yes, you're seeing a 38% score on Rust in Peace. I imagine that almost everybody who reads this won't approve of this review, especially considering that many people are going to be reading this purely because of my score. But no, unfortunately, my score is a reflection of my genuine opinion about this album. There's no rage bait here, reader. However, you want to read my review, not me talking about my score. So I give you my review. Or
maybe just delete that entire paragraph, douchebag.
Or alternatively, my death sentence, given the traitorous nature of the following words. Having moved away from their speed metal origins following Killing Is My Business, Megadeth moved on to their now well-known style with Peace Cells and So Far So Good So What. These albums are of course celebrated in their supposed innovation and technicality, a consensus I reject, but I'm in the minority here, so whatever. Now, I never liked these albums for a multitude of reasons, but as this is a review for Rust in Peace, I'll cut to the chase. He hasn't been cutting to the chase, so...
Yeah.
Megadeth went through some lineup changes in the late 80s and brought on Marty Friedman after auditioning and requesting several others. With him, Friedman brought an air of neoclassical shredding to thrash metal, and, when paired with the melody he so emphasizes, almost reaches thrashy power metal. His addition to the lineup defines the album's sound. Instrumentally speaking, I can't say that I'm a big fan. Friedman and Mustaine clash in my mind, with Friedman being technical to the point of overdoing things, and Mustaine being the master of writing boring C-tier riffs. I'm gonna jump in here and say, what the fuck are you talking about? Tornado of Souls, mic drop, shut up. But combined, it goes back and forth between the two, and I don't hear much that I like. Some of the riffs, like the main one on Poison Was the Cure, are somewhat solid, but the majority of the riffs, I hear, that's actually one of the album's weaker tracks, in my opinion. Are too flashy for me to appreciate Five Magics, while others are just supremely uninteresting string strikes with no drive or power. Take No Prisoner is the biggest offender. This felt it through the entire song. Again, this guy's talking mad shit. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. As for the solos, this might be where I should just contact a necrologist already. I don't like the solos, I'll be honest. I fully understand the weight of my words, but I stand resolute and I'll tell you why I think this way. It all blends together, and when you finish listening to a given solo, you can't remember a thing.
Oh, that's
bullshit.
That is the stupidest. I could literally probably sing you most of the solos on the album.
Yeah, they are some of the catchiest solos in metal. What the fuck is this guy on? It slips by in such technical proficiency that it becomes over the top. Too much is happening for me to appreciate it. Maybe you just
sorry you got overwhelmed, dude.
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe this music isn't for you.
Sorry, we're smarter than you. Is this an excellent display of Friedman's skill? Yes. ...
And Dave Mustaine.
But I can't appreciate it because he never gives time for anything to sink in. Somehow reminiscent of Tech Death. What? These are some... He's talking about some of the most memorable lyrical solos in fucking metal.
Yeah.
That's generally the problem with this album. As I've said before, and I shall reiterate, it's not just the riffs that flop between flashy and flaccid, but everything within the album itself. Now, if that was bad for you to read, this part should be some reprieve for you. The vocals. They're shit. Outright and utter shit. One might say fucking shit. This is due in part due to the lyrics, and in part to Mustaine being a terrible singer in general. It would take him another 4 years before he sounded good on any vocal performance. Rust in Peace has such awful vocals, I'm not sure how the producers ever approved this. I understand Mustaine is hell to work with.
So that I guarantee that I feel like he listened to the remixed version. Mm-hmm. Like it still has original vocals on it for sure, but I feel like the way that the vocals are processed on that remix, it doesn't sound as good. Obviously, the whole fucking thing doesn't sound as good, but yeah.
Here's one. I understand Mustaine is hell to work with, but y'all approve this? Why does he sound stereotypically British half the time? Motherfucker only listened to Dawn Patrol. It's abysmally grating on the ears and kills any of the rare momentum that this album can build instrumentally instantly. Oh, what's this? A nice riff? Oh, he started singing. Well, fuck. I guess that's the end of the good part. I mean, seriously, his terrible singing paired with his interesting lyrical analogies leads to some lines such as rotten egg air of death, being misinterpreted. Sorry, I had to do that. That was a terrible Dave Mustaine impression.
But also, he chose one of my favorite lines in the whole album.
Yeah. Yep. Being misinterpreted and transformed into some perhaps not so friendly ethnic words.
Ethnic words?
Yeah, it says here, it's some lines such as rotten egg. He heard the N-word in rotten egg air of death. Being misinterpreted and transformed into some perhaps not so friendly ethnic words.
Nobody has ever said, I've never heard anybody say that So I'm assuming that that's a word he just uses a lot. So he's like, I hear it everywhere I go.
Yeah, yeah. Great self-report there, guy.
Yeah.
If your singing makes you sound like this, you're spouting slurs. You should probably get singing lessons. He's not spouting slurs. That is
because of the big history of metal singers that have singing lessons before they start their bands.
For
I don't even think fucking Bruce Dickinson had singing lessons, you know?
Nope. Nope.
He may have later on down the line. You get older, you need, some vocal, whatever you call it. You need you need to learn
coaching.
Coaching. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you.
But here you go. For once in his life, could Dave have listened to someone else tell him what to do? It would bump this album score up to like a 60 if Dave had sang with even a modicum of skill. Don't even get me started on the 2004 remasters. Oh, so he is talking about the original.
Oh, so he is just a genuine doofus.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Ready? I should, in asterisk, should like this album, at least instrumentally, given that seemingly everyone else does, and that my own personal taste should perfectly align with this album, yet somehow it doesn't. And so I write this review in an attempt to explain this peculiarity of mine. I don't think I need to recommend this album, given you've already heard it by now. Any metalhead worth his salt has, but if by some miracle you haven't, I do recommend the album. You'll probably like it, considering about 50% of people who listen to this think it's Jesus H. Christ's second coming in material form, and the other 50%...
Oh, it's way better than that. Fuck Jesus.
Yeah. And the other 50% think that it's God's thrash metal gift to mankind. Of course, I'm atheist, so this has no effect on me, as I have outlined. I apologize for my review.
God, this guy is unbearable.
Yeah,
he is the most annoying dude at the party.
This is what no pussy does to a motherfucker. Well, that was an absolute corker.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, there was no point to that review. I love the fact that he tried to be like, I'm just trying to explain how it's so peculiar, how I don't like this album. No, because you wouldn't have used words like shit to describe somebody's vocals. And
also try to shoehorn in a solid paragraph about the N-word being on the album when it is in fact not. You are grasping at straws that don't even exist.
Yeah, it's there was no point to that review except for that guy needed somebody to talk to, and that's it. I decided that we could. I want to bring things up, and I'm gonna read the most positive review that I can find of an album that I also very much love, but a lot of people talk shit about.
Okay.
If I go to it and there's only one page of reviews, that means that that's all there is, right? There's not like a bunch more. I don't know how to do this fucking shit. Anyway, I guess this is anyway. I'm gonna do a review of Diatribes by Napalm Death, which is my favorite Napalm Death album, and a lot of people would say that that's fucking weird because it's the most un-Napalm Death sounding Napalm Death album, but it also, for me, sounds very much like Napalm Death because they fucking made it. Anyway, so I found at least the highest I see here is 85%.
Okay.
I would give it way higher than that, but that's just me. So I just wanted to bring it up with a little bit of positivity because I love Diatribes. This is a review from October 14th, 2021 from Orbit Ball. Okay, what does it mean? Written based on this version, 1996 CD. Oh, okay, yeah, all right. So he gave it 85%. A more experimental Napalm Death, though I still like it. It's kind of the same way I like Chaos AD by Sepultura, though they're in a whole different genre. But the same idea. I think they had a lot of good ideas in the songwriting, but they totally abandoned their grind roots on here. Surprised that Jesse, R.I.P., did go through and play on this alongside Mitch. I suppose Slowed Down doesn't even come close to this one. I like it, but it's way not Napalm. If they wanted to abolish their metal roots, as I say, then they've done that here. It's kind of like Napalm meets Lamb of God or Killswitch Engage. That is fucking dumb. What? What? I'm surprised that I like this. I'm glad you like it, but what the fuck were those? Where did you pull those bands from? I can see an alternative. That's another reason why I really hate when people do reviews and they reference other bands, because there's it's always going to, somebody's always going to hear it completely different and be like, who the fuck? Like, you don't reference the bands that you know very well, because there's plenty more out there that probably are more similar to what Napalm was doing right here.
Yeah.
I can see an alternative metal approach on Diatribes. It's closest to the genre, far away what Napalm fans are really into. That's not true. I'm a Napalm fan. But since I value just about all genres, oh no, I already don't like this guy. He's given a positive review. Nobody, if you say you like all genres or all music, then just get out of my face with that shit. I can appreciate this and give it a B rating. They probably wanted to do something they've never done, and well, that's what they sure as hell did. I like the guitar riffs on a lot of their songs here, but you would think it's not Mitch and Jesse doing this. Oh, you would think it's not them. I get it. And Barney sounds the same, just not like on Harmony Corruption, Utopia Banished, or Fear, Emptiness, Despair. I feel like a little... Fear, Emptiness, Despair kind of starts leaning in this direction a little bit, but yeah. This is the newer Barney, not as low in pitch or likable to me as on early releases, the ones I just mentioned. I think if this were a different band than grind, death grind, or straight death metal, you'd probably be okay with it. I suppose that they did see the negative press, so they changed their tune. I mean, not really. I mean, they still, there's an album after this that's still similar to this, but okay.
Yeah.
I'm still in favor of people getting the album, but just expect something different. Those blast beats are non-existent because they're unnecessary. I put my 2 cents in. And the intensity is a lot less. It's still pretty intense to me. They probably don't really play much of the material on this live. I mean, considering they have like 500 songs, they can't play everything. They didn't when I saw them in 2012. So it's not well received. There are a lot of changes on here, and the distortion on the heavy riffs are there, but not on every song the whole way through. It's hit or miss if you'll like this or not. Since I'm a big Napalm fan, I accepted that it was something different here, and so I thought it palatable for me. But if you're looking for the utmost intense Napalm, search into the early releases I mentioned or with the old lineup. Don't expect Napalm of the old, this is the new generation. Though on here, it's pretty alternative metal sounding. They abdicated their roots, but a lot of songs are still pretty strong. I ordered the CD because I didn't get it when it came out in '96. I've been a Napalm fan since the late '80s. I've heard a big change in sound, and this is the product of the new. Except they did so many albums after this. But anyway, so Mr. Holy shit, Orbital Ball. Guess how old Orbital Ball is?
Ooh. Give me a ballpark. Are we going old or are we going young?
Old.
75.
Almost 76. And a woman. So,
wow.
Yeah, Laura, I don't want to say her last name because, but, yeah. So I didn't agree with it like a lot of that.
The was throwing me off there.
Yeah. 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 So I understand this review. There are things on it that I don't know. I'm never going to like any review, I don't think. Because even positive reviews, I'm always just kind of like, you don't get it.
Being as we're taking a little break before we go into some more negative ones again. I've got one here. After looking up like percentages and whatnot, and I'm pleased to see that someone has given one of my favorite, probably most underrated, it may be the most underrated Sabbath album.
Sorry, I'm just bumping into the fucking microphone. I'm sorry.
It's old head pinball coming soon. Well, I'm pleased to say that. Oh my God! Hold on, wait. We've already talked about this guy, Hell's Unicorn.
Oh, but he gave a good review for something else?
Could this be a redemption arc? Wait, which one was Hell's Unicorn? Was he the one?
Sacred Reich, I believe it was Hell's Unicorn.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see.
What album are we doing?
We're doing Headless Cross by Black Sabbath.
Okay.
Let's see if we can find redemption here.
And this is one we didn't read last time too, because I feel like we read a Headless Cross, or maybe I'm wrong.
Did we?
Maybe we didn't read Headless Cross. Maybe we did a Dio album.
You just don't want to give Hell's Unicorn the time of day.
No, I'm all about people being able to redeem themselves, but yeah.
Well, when was the Hell's Unicorn review from?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, this one was from 2007. So if the one that you read was later, that may be a downward turn.
I don't remember actually, and I don't know how to use this iPad well enough to go back and see what I read. Where's the history? Where do I go to history? How do you set the VCR clock?
Well, if we think that we've done a Headless Cross before.
I don't even remember. That's the thing about these. These shows are so loose that I'm just like, I don't know what I think if you start reading it, we'll be able to know, like, oh, we've heard this before. But so let's just give them a break, though. Because, I mean, like, I don't remember Hell's Unicorn for sure. So I think we probably haven't read it. So let's let him redeem himself a little bit with Headless Cross, which is an album that I also really like.
The making of an epic masterpiece, 100%. After managing to pull off...
He gave it 100%?
He gave it 100%.
Oh, wow, okay.
After managing to pull off a masterpiece album in the midst of some rather sizable lineup changes, Tony Iommi, his newly recruited frontman Tony Martin, and keyboardist Jeff Nichols set out to reclaim the credibility that the Black Sabbath name still had back in the early 80s. They found it, and his name was Cozy Powell, the masterfully insane kit master that brought us the lion's share of the best music from Rainbow. With his added musical input, Sabbath ceased to be a mere Tony Iommi side project and became a more cohesive metal-pounding machine. This album is probably among the least evil-sounding releases carrying the Sabbath name, despite the dark imagery depicted in the lyrics. Although we have some evil-sounding riffs on Nightwing and Kill in the Spirit World, this album harkens back to the more epic sound established on Heaven and Hell. The title track is a very similar bass line and overall atmosphere to the 1980 classic Sabbath song, and rivals the musical homage played to it by Dio's band Holy Diver. The siege begin between it and the opening keyboard and ambience-driven instrumental The Gates of Hell is masterfully done, swelling up with an ominous sense of crescendo before Cozy Powell bangs out a classic rock beat. Black Moon and Devil and Daughter are both heavily atmospheric numbers, the former being highly blues-driven, though with a dark-sounding church organ, while the latter is a more speed-oriented track with a classic power chord riff, reminiscent of the better parts of the Ronnie Dio era. Kill in the Spirit World and Call of the Wild, both cuts from the heavily epic vein of the Dio era, complete with memorable verses and choruses and a few dissonant sections. Although everything on here rocks out and reeks of early epic power metal, the two highlights are so exceptional that they demand several listens by themselves. When Death Calls is probably the closest thing to a scary sounding song on here, with a gloomy keyboard driven verse and heavy riff driven chorus. The middle section is fast and contains the best solo on this album, courtesy Queen Axeman Brian May, a man whose guitar work has had probably the most impact on every lead guitarist in the power metal genre who isn't a Malmsteen worshipper. Nightwing has all the right elements to make it an obligatory listen for any fan of the power metal genre. Iommi has 3 amazing guitar solos, one of them a classical guitar solo, which has rarely been encountered since the Mob Rules release. But this song's real appeal is the lyrics, describing the vampire the way I've always pictured him. A powerful yet regal creature of the night, rather than the horrid caricature that the modern vampires depicted in Blade. In conclusion, if you like power metal, if you like the Dio and Gillan eras, this album is a must-have. It stands tall as the greatest achievement ever realized by Tony Martin in his long career as a vocalist, and it challenges the perfection established on Sabotage, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, Heaven and Hell, and Mob Rules. I listen to it often, and I can assure you this, it never gets old, it never wavers, it is a definite masterwork for the consumption of melodic metal fans.
So I even like the fact that when he had his go-to Sabbath albums for like masterpieces, he said Sabotage and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, and I couldn't agree with that more, because everybody goes to like Paranoid and a Master Reality or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I don't know if I mean, they are masterpieces, but like I really think that like especially Sabotage gets overshadowed.
Oh, absolutely.
And people act like that album's like not great. I'm like, what the fuck are you listening to?
Yeah, it's got fucking Hole in the Sky and Symptom of the Universe on it, let alone Megalomania, The Writ. Am I going insane?
Yeah,
like there's so many good ones.
Killer album, but also Headless Cross is fucking great. Headless Cross was the first. I probably talked about this on the.
It's in my top 3
on the ranking we did, but Headless Cross was the first like full Black Sabbath album I owned. Because I owned We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, which is a compilation, and then I found like this was even in the early '90s. I found a cutout of Headless Cross, like nice. Because they weren't selling, which is interesting. But I mean, I guess at that point, that kind of metal was kind of on its way out anyway. But it's fucking great. I agree with a lot of what he said. I don't think it's 100% album, so maybe like you can lower that one down and raise Heel up, because like yeah. But it's kind of clear like what he goes to metal for. So everybody. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's got their own story, so it's like you can't come at every album the same way because you have a certain thing that you're looking for. But whatever, Trevor. So I decided that I was going to go move on to something from friends of old head, Acid Rain.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, like their stuff doesn't get. I thought that there'd be like lower reviews and shit, but the lowest review score on this website that I can see is a 50% for my favorite Acid Rain album, Obnoxious. So let's see what this motherfucker has to say. So they gave it a 50%, and this was in 2015 by Diamia. Look, I don't know. But yeah, Acid Rain, Obnoxious. This is the 50% review. The Ample Core isn't rotten, but it sure has seen more enthralling days. Acid Rain play pacified UK thrash that sounds like the end result of a drunken and bumbling game of pin the tail on the standard genre trope, insofar that they certainly brought the riffs with them, but metamorphosed into some aggregate of Anthrax-tempered joviality coupled with proto-re-thrash exercises in the cringe inducting and eyeball rolling. That was a fucking mouthful. One look
brown cow.
One look at the garish and shameless cover art. The cover's fucking great. God, I fucking hate people. Should make none of this surprising, but to be honest, Obnoxious doesn't necessarily live up to its name, at least not at the level I expected it to when I first heard it. For a band boasting such audacious back catalog entries as Moshkinstein and Hanging on the Telephone, what a fucking cover song? Come on. This album is actually far more straight-faced and in the end less memorable than it could have been. Okay. Rapid Velocity is certainly not the order of the day here, and just like their whole neighbor's Reanimator, Acid Rain's material features an airy, lightweight backbone infused with incomprehensible bloating via overstuffed riffage and unusual song structures. That's a fucking point of shit that I like on this album and a lot of their stuff.
Oh no, it's interesting.
It isn't really
sucks.
progressive in any true sense, but you can hardly blame these lads for trying to crack new genre codes by the time of this album's release, as the gig was clearly just about up for all included. The cyclic, whatever, balanced swagger of the riffs does earn the band some immediate credibility, discounting the lack of poignancy and grace. Thoughtful Sleep does not seem promising going in, but for a 7+ minute thrash anthem, it actually works surprisingly well and is stuffed to the gills with passable riffs. That's a great fucking song. Smith actually performs reasonably well, and when he tries to sing, and I wish he would attempt this style more often, he isn't a bad thrash vocalist by any modicum short. Oh my, sorry, I skipped. I don't see very well, people. I apologize. By any means. But he has the despondent tendency to cut his enunciations a modicum short, and it just sounds like spastic barking, like on Joke Chain. It almost sounds like he is out of breath or a split second behind the rest of the band and trying to compensate and catch up. No, they're pointing out the out of your minds. That part, that sounds fucking great. His vocals are so good on this.
Yeah.
So just like Reanimator's Laughing, oh, that's a good one. Laughing is an album that, like, I've heard people shit on that album because Reanimator is a British thrash band, and then they literally put out an EP and an album that are like, you know, pretty straightforward, classic, cool thrash, and then Laughing, there's like funk metal on it and all this other stuff. Yeah, and it's fucking great. Anyway. There are some downright fucking stupid experimental moments. Oh, shut the fuck up. You Are Your Enemy gets in and out quickly, but sounds like a Children of Bodom with the silly keyboard effects. Oh, shut up. This is also a very unbalanced record concerning its procession. Quick sub 3-minute solo vehicles are coupled slipshod with massive time does not heal length pseudo epics like Phantasm. I get what the band is trying to do here, and let's be honest, they actually fire off a few noteworthy ideas on the longer numbers, but it is a very frustrating way to assemble things. You can close your eyes and randomly jump to any spot of this album and have no idea where you really are, and there are very few distinct moments outside of the aforementioned negatives. The architecture of the music might not seem inherently complex or intricate, and it doesn't necessarily need to be to work, but Acid Rain seem to needlessly stretch themselves over stylistic gaps here, and it really leaves them open to downright sucking when the chips don't fall in their favor. Okay. Obnoxious is not a horrible thrash record, nor is it even a disappointment when viewing the UK scene as the average microcosm that it was. Slammer probably takes the cake for the worst example of the region. Oh, what the fuck? Who the fuck?
Old Dead's coming for you.
That is fucking stupid. But these guys weren't too far behind. Oh my God. So I want to know who they think the best. They probably think Onslaught was the best, which is like, get fucked. But the production values are decent and deliver all the snappy pluggy goodness that characterized late 80s, early 90s thrash records, and a passable vocalist in Smith means that there are no glaring weaknesses concerning individual performances alone. What came together was something uninspired and ultimately forgettable. There's a subtle sense of bruised glory when some of the longer numbers finally wrap up, but there is also a lot of fluff to mitigate in order to get through to the good stuff. I don't know about this one, nor can I say that it meets the requirements as a curiosity piece, since there is little distinctive about it. Acid Rain were never much to look at, and their disposal of the annals of second-tier thrash history is as deserved as it could be. Yeah, so this person, Diamia, is they do not
more like diarrhea.
They do not disclose their age. Yeah. Why do I feel like we've read this person before? Because it says they're retired, and there's a little paragraph that says, effective May 2014, due to my recent promotion and inability to adhere to my former review output, I may now go for extended periods without contributing a review. Oh, sorry. Thanks for letting us know. Effective December 2014, some reviews will now be cross-posted from the Metal Observer. Oh, Jesus Christ. Why am I even writing this? Nobody even reads my reviews. Exactly. We did.
Hey.
I feel like we read their reviews, some of their reviews before. Yeah, I don't. The thing that bums me out about these reviews is that they're so fucking long, and literally everything in there could have been said in like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
And a lot of it.
I want attention.
Well, also a lot of it screams like, I only listened to this album one time and I didn't even really want to listen to it. So it's like, then fucking don't. The fact that they bash that great Reanimator album and Slammer in the same review, I don't think they need to be writing any reviews anyway. Apparently, the Metal Observer. I don't know what the Metal Observer is, but if they actually hire people to write for them, they're doing a real shit job. So unless they're just looking for anybody that will actually review things. So anyway.
Okay. Are you ready for a little bombshell?
Oh Jesus, I don't know, man. This is a bummer. I got my next one's going to be a positive one, but let's do this
Okay.
one.
Tell you what we'll do is we'll start trading off. You can do the positives. I'll do the negatives.
I like when you read better. You have a better reading voice than me. I feel like I stumble over myself too much when I read.
It must be some sort of suppressed actor in me that gets into the character. Maybe I don't know.
You should like see if you could do voiceover work or audiobooks or something. That'd be fucking sweet.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Although I'd have to refrain from just randomly breaking into a John Tardy impression. Just out of sheer temptation. Yeah.
Like that's not appropriate here. This is 50 Shades of Grey that you're reading.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
This is Harry Potter.
He peeled my panties down with his teeth.
John Tardy reads the classics.
My nipples pucker at his touch.
Apparently, Eddie Sparks has read 50 Shades of Grey. Because
actually, I've seen
those were direct quotes. I don't know.
They are, but they're from. I can't take full credit for that because there's a video by this guy called ProZD, and he does this incredibly bang on Goofy impression. And he reads the steamy sections of those books as Goofy. And they're so funny. And there's a part where like he's being like dominant. He's like, he smacked me across the face. Quiet, he said. Right. Okay, so this one is called Thrash Metal for Dummies, 20%. By Torment 159, dated July 25th, 2010, about Rain and Blood by Slayer.
All right.
Okay, let's do this.
I'm not one of those people that holds this album, dear, like I'm going to fight people over it, but I wouldn't. Thrash Metal for Dummies?
It's a bold claim for an album this influential. So
and from 1986.
Yeah.
Like it's not there were thrash metal bands, but anyway.
So with that, Slayer's Rain and Blood is one of thrash metal's best-selling records, which goes to show that popularity isn't everything. Back in 1986, this album was one of the fastest and heaviest thrash albums around, and helped define the genre in a bad way. Slayer's Rain and Blood makes thrash metal look like it is played by a bunch of no-talent losers who only care about how brutal the music is and not how it sounds.
Just stop right there. This motherfucker does not play an instrument.
Yep.
If he does, I don't know. He plays the fucking tuba or something. I don't know. Which I mean, the tuba's not easy. So I don't know. But like that, God damn it.
So we're going to keep going here.
Yeah.
Feel free to interject whenever.
Okay.
The album starts out promising with Angel of Death. The song has a lot of great moments until the solo, which is the typical Slayer picking really fast on a bunch of notes in no particular scale or guitar solo.
I mean, I'll with him on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. He's got a point. The lead work in Slayer is probably the weak link. Other than a terrible solo and some very average vocals by Tom Araya, the song is pretty good and a cut above what is to come for 8 more songs. The next 8 songs aren't memorable at all. There's barely a riff in the entire group of these 8. Got to disagree there. There's loads of riffs.
Was this review written?
2010.
Oh.
So it is extremely mundane or just really fast palm mutes. Every solo, almost every riff, and every line of lyrics yelled monotone by Tom Araya gives someone who isn't very into metal the wrong idea of what it is about. Metal is, in fact, usually very Oh my god! Right, so this is someone who is taking themselves very serious.
Also, he seems like somebody that doesn't understand that there's different bands that do different kinds of music.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up every solo, almost every riff, and every line of lyrics yelled monotone by Tom Araya gives someone who isn't very into metal the wrong idea of what it's about. I'm actually going to change to a really pompous British accent.
What do you mean? What it's about? Who the fuck are any of us to say what an entire genre of music filled with dozens or more subgenres, what it's about?
Yeah. Metal is in fact usually very sophisticated and takes a lot of talent to play, but albums like this make it seem like all you need to be a famous thrash metal musician is a fast right hand.
Apparently, reading this review, his right hand's pretty fast too.
Yeah,
This is a big old jerk fest of himself.
Yes. The album sort of makes up for this streak of below average songs with Raining Blood, which still sounds like a bunch of speed with almost no actual riffs, but it's still pretty cool. One good thing about the album is that it's short. If you decide to torture yourself with this album, it will at least be a short torture. Most of the songs are under 3 minutes, which proves once again that Slayer are not good songwriters and rely completely on how fast they can move their picking hands. Another thing about Slayer's songwriting is that they do not like melody. The whole album sounds extremely chaotic, and to people who aren't used to metal music, probably sounds like a bunch of random notes played with a lot of it sounds like this guy isn't into metal and is coming at it from trying to introduce non-metalers into metal.
No, he is. I guarantee you, if he's picking at albums from around that time, he's probably like, real metal is that Yngwie Malmsteen album where he fights a dragon.
In the third measure of the seventh movement, you will find the major third. It is quite magnificent. Anyway,
Why does nobody seem to understand that Grim Reaper was the best band of the 80s?
I've
no
not
offense
had
to Grim
sex
Reaper.
in 15 years.
What am I charged with? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
What is the charge? Yes, I see you know your judo well.
Are you ready to accept my limp penis?
Get your hands off my penis!
This is democracy
Manifest.
manifest. That's what it is. Rest in peace for that guy.
Yes, yeah. Okay, for the purposes of brevity, I feel like the bit peaked there.
Keep
I'm just
going.
going to get through. Okay, although I don't like this album at all, and I can't deny its influence, with this album, Slayer inspired hundreds of other thrash bands to follow in their footsteps and write really fast and heavy thrash metal records. But is that really a good thing? This album may have inspired a lot of people to play thrash, but all it really did was water the genre down from great riffing songs and fantastic shredding solos to speed, and more fucking speed. This album made it okay to be a below-average musician and a songwriter to play thrash metal. Slayer's Rain and Blood is a great record if you are looking for speed, but other than speed it has absolutely nothing. The riffs are boring, the solos are terrible, Tom Araya is an awful vocalist. I use the word vocalist because while he does the vocals, he is not at all a singer, and the album as a whole is unmemorable. On this album, Slayer manages to write 2 decent songs and 8 terrible filler songs that can barely be called songs at all. This album is a below-average thrash album that almost every mediocre high school garage band is capable of writing. Other than some fast palm muting and a good drummer, the band has zero talent, or if they do have talent, they sure don't show it on this album or any other they've released.
Oh my God.
And that concludes
Wankathon.
Yes. So with that, thank you, Torment159. That missed the mark. I mean, I think there are legions of bands that wrote killer shit that would disagree with you.
But even then, in their own review, they are calling themselves out. It's very clear that this isn't the metal they want to listen to, but they decided to review this album anyway.
Yeah.
Get your head out of your own asses and talk about the music that you love, because those are helpful reviews.
Yeah.
Like this one I'm going to read now. I'm gonna go positive for one of my favorite bands of all time. This isn't my favorite album by this band, but I wanted to read the highest review for one of their albums that I could find. The band Fudge Tunnel.
Nice.
Hate Songs in E minor. This is a short one too, so this will be a nice short review for their album Hate Songs in E minor, their debut album, the first full length, and they gave it a 98%. Raspberry Soda gave it a 98%. And it says right at the top, why is this so fucking obscure? I agree. It probably shouldn't be. Fudge Tunnel may be known for their more mainstream. You already fucked up right away. There are no mainstream Fudge Tunnel albums.
Yeah. What the fuck?
But this one is a true gem. So, like, honestly, at this point, and even this is from 2016, the song Hate Songs in E minor is their most well-known album. And anyway, as well as being so many years ahead of its time, it features some excellent musicianship and a load of attitude. And no, this ain't no I Hate God. Although they share the same label, their music is very different. This has no blues influences, and instead it sounds like it was influenced from noise rock and industrial rather than thrash or doom. The first thing that should be mentioned about this album is the guitar tone. It's very fuzzy, blurry, and distorted, but is super heavy and builds a huge wall of sound by itself. And with the only possible comparison made is Husker Du's New Day Rising. That's a good comparison. I mean, they're different bands, but guitar tone, I could see that. Along the guitar sound being heavy by itself, the riffs it produces are slow, chuggy, and sludgy, but have a grunge/alt-rock attitude to them, which makes the album semi-groove metal and somewhat laid back along with being heavy. And did I mention that this album is purely headbangable? And it is complemented by crunchy bass lines, offbeat Soundgarden-y drums, and Henry Rollins/James Hetfield/Jerry Cantrell aggressive vocals. That's a weird combo of people, but I like all of those people.
Yeah.
Which couldn't be screamed any better. Hence the name Hate Songs in E minor. A very weird thing about this album is that it doesn't fall under any subgenre of metal. It has elements of grunge, sludge, and groove, but is heavily influenced by alt-rock, noise rock, and even industrial. But I like that whole section. It just explains why I love them so much, because they really don't fit in to, especially at the time, really didn't fit in anywhere. The structure of the songs is same in the first impression you get from the album, but as you dig through it, you can hear some gem material. For example, take Hate Song with its alt-rock turned to Alice in Chains' Melvin's Feeling, or the plodding Tweezers and the almost thrash Gut Rot and Kitchen Belt. Each and every song here is different than the other, which is considered as a pretty good thing in sludge metal, or in any genre, actually. Even the two covers at the end, Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent and Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. Originally, Cat Scratch Fever is not on it, but yeah. Are fudge tunnelized and were made sludgy with fitting in the album's angry atmosphere. Especially the latter, well, maybe Cat Scratch Fever was on the original. Fuck, I don't remember. Which crushes the original with its heaviness. I would agree that both of their covers of both of those songs are better than the originals. That's my 2 cents. Even the production is crushing. It's raw and dirty and fits the album perfectly and enhances its heavy and sludgy essence. Mandatory for any sludge, doom, noise, alt, rock, metal, grunge fans. Yeah, I don't have a lot to add to that. I think that's a good review of that album. I like their 2 following albums more than that one. This is there's no age for this guy either. But he did write in his bio, I like almost every type of music. Yeah. Okay.
I've found quite a bizarre one.
Oh shit. Okay. A bizarre one. I like that.
I think this is going to yield some. This is going to yield some reactions from you.
Okay.
I feel like there's a line in here that if anyone's ever going to make a meme of old head's reaction to something, this is going to be the moment.
All right, let's do this.
So this is a review of No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne by Ultra Boris from August 26th, 2002.
Okay.
And it says, he's naked on the cover. That can't be good. 39%.
Is he naked on the cover of No More Tears?
I
How do you know what he's wearing on his bottom half?
he's
I'm imagining Ozzy's penis right now.
That's a good point. Like, when I read that, I was like, yeah, he's got a shirt off and he's got like a little wing on the back.
It's very telling that that's where his brain went. It's like those people that look at Nirvana's Nevermind album cover and they go, "That's porn." I'm like, why do you see a baby penis and you think porn?
I think there's a deeper issue there.
Yeah, you have
a
problem.
Needs to reflect on. Jesus Christ.
What's the score they gave this?
39% for No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne.
And I don't 100%. I like this album a lot, but I have some gripes about this album. So let's see. Let me see what happens here.
Oh, here's the thing. It's like everywhere I look, there's a fucking like somewhere in my peripheral.
Okay.
There is a fucking
at
some point.
Okay, they got a foul mouth.
He's naked on the cover. That can't be good. 39%. Ultra Boris, August 26th, 2002. I was 4 years old. Why no? You are right. It does make for a completely sucky album. Look, I'm sober. Well, you know what? That's really fucking special of you. But if you could finally put an album out that wasn't complete goat crap, I may bother to care. So there are a few good songs on here. Mr. Tinker Train is okay, though I have no idea who Mr. Tinker Train is and why he's got such a dorky name. Hi kids, I'm Mr. Tinker Train, and I like inserting my penis into lawn care equipment because I'm sexually perplexed. But anyway, dumb chorus aside, yeah, in air quotes, there is, hi kids, I'm Mr. Tinker Train.
So it sounds, is there any, so this is the review equivalent of, like when you go to like therapy and they're like, they draw things and they go, what do you see when you see this picture? Everything is a penis to this guy. Like literally whatever you draw, penis, it's a penis. Are you sure? This looks like a butterfly's got a penis. There's a penis there.
I had to take a screenshot of this because I'm saving this for later on. This is gold. But it's I caught pieces of it, but I didn't read it all the way through.
Okay.
But now I've got it in my head that Mr. Tinker Train is this character. Or is it, hi kids, I'm Mr. Tinker Train, and I like inserting my penis into lawn care equipment because I'm sexually perplexed. But anyway, dumb chorus aside, this song has some cool riffs. Okay, yeah, the rule for Ozzy albums is, if you ever find a good idea, be sure to immediately discard it, as to make the song not be good at all. Because if you put two good songs in a row on an Ozzy album, then the Earth will implode upon itself and would be forced to move to Pluto. And you'd have to share a spaceship with the reanimated corpse of Hitler. It would be that bad. In fact, if the second song, I Don't Want to Change the World, is merely horrifyingly bad, make sure the next song after that is so abysmally, decrepitly nauseating, then it makes bizarre sexual acts between you and a hippopotamus seem like a perfectly good way to pass the time. Ozzy just can't fucking write ballads. And you know what? Neither can Lemmy. That's because Lemmy is in Motorhead. He has no business writing sappy love songs. He's supposed to be tearing up and bashing people's heads in.
So, see, like, who are you to say what Lemmy's supposed to be doing?
Yeah, like, didn't he write a song called 1916? You know, it was, and that's like a really moving song about the war.
All I know is that
We're only halfway through, by the way.
I will never get over the fact that, like, how much people just are so narrow-minded about everything.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because I'm gonna keep going. It gets so much worse. Note, for the sake of our beloved God, please keep him out of the same room as Feces born. From now on, that's what I declare.
Who's Feces? Oh, okay. Got it. Sorry.
So, from now on, that's what I declare. Because Mama, I'm Coming Home makes getting shat on by an elephant seem pleasant. There's a real zoo animal kink underlining this whole thing so far we've had.
So this person is sexually confused and doesn't understand good songwriting. Because Mama, I'm Coming Home is fucking fantastic.
So far, he's alluded to putting his penis in law equipment, a hippo, and an elephant. So zoo animals, lawn equipment, 2-0.
Plus he imagined Ozzy's penis already.
And, you know, we're making feces jokes, which we can't ignore that. There's probably a little scat play in there.
Yeah. This is 2002. I want to find out who this person is and if they are in jail already at this point.
Just caught with a lemur. Desire is only better because it cannot possibly get worse. Then we have the title track, which is pretty damn cool. It's eerie and the vocals don't ruin it too much. And then the solo just owns. Too bad they made a radio edit of the song, which just has the cheesier parts of the song. Sin sucks. Hellraiser is pretty
cheesier
decent.
part of the song. They literally just cut out the keyboard section in the middle. But okay.
Sin sucks. Hellraiser is pretty decent, but the Motorhead version is so much cooler because Motorhead version is darker and more fucking fucked up. While Ozzy just kind of goes through the motions, I disagree. I think the Ozzy version is better. I think there's a better atmosphere. Hellraiser, I'm not one. Going through the motions. Hellraiser, I'm not one anymore. Hellraiser, I'm retiring at the end of this tour. If only he had kept his word, and especially if only by retiring he meant killing himself. Whoa! And especially if only by retiring he meant killing himself so we wouldn't have to put up with him and his cash cow reunions and his dumb TV shows. That's too fucking far.
Somebody needs to tell this dude that it was supposed to be a final tour because he indeed thought he was dying.
Jesus Christ.
Turns out he wasn't, so guess what? He started doing shit again.
It says here, dude, your 15 minutes of fame are up about 74 times in a row now. Die already. Jesus Christ. This took a real sour turn.
This is a dictionary, example of an edgelord.
You know what? I'm not reading past this point because up until now it was funny. Now he's just telling Ozzy to kill himself.
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Because we'll balance it out by talking shit about this doofus, and then we're gonna figure out where he lives.
All right.
send the authorities his way, because you know that he's got somebody in his basement locked up at this point, or I don't know.
Well, right here it says, then there's another ballad. I have guns at my house. It's not there. But then another ballad. You know what? I'll be nice and diplomatic and not make fun of this song. Wait, I'm kidding. It's the sonic equivalent of battery acid enema. Zombie Stomp is not bad, but the lyrics
battery
don't make
acid. So they've also had battery acid inserted into their anus.
Yeah.
Because how else would they be able to know the sonic equivalent? Trust me, I've experimented with all sorts of animals and chemicals, and here's my review of Ozzy Osborne.
So this part here says, Zombie Stomp is not bad, but the lyrics don't make any fucking sense. Zombies don't stomp, they eat the living. I would argue that they can stomp.
Also, zombies are not real. Just throwing that out there. He's literally one of those dudes that's like, Little Mermaid's white. I'm like, the Little Mermaid is a goddamn character in a book, you fuckhole. Fuckhole. Fuckhole, that's a good one. Fuckhole.
Fuckhole. That's a good name for a band. You want to start a band called Fuckhole?
Fuckhole. We'll never get booked any shows.
It's okay. That's our. You remember that like 9 Inch Nails thing that I just growled into the mic that time? That can be our one release, and we'll just call it Fuckhole.
Okay, that sounds good.
Cool. I like that. Cool. So with that, where are we at? Kind of catchy chorus, but still.
Zombies are real. That's where we were.
Then AVH, whatever that stands for, is not bad, but of course the last song is a mega shit ballad again.
It's 2002, and he's writing a review on the internet. He couldn't look up what it stands for.
That's the equivalent of a million turds. It's that bad.
So how many times does he use the word equivalent? Everything is like a comparison to something that normal people would never experience. A million turds?
I think we're gazing into the soul of a man who is completely insane. I think this
that works in sewers, I guess, or in the porta potty industry, maybe. I don't know.
I have reason to believe he's a zookeeper who's tired of picking up all of this shit.
Oh yeah, because there's animals involved. There's poop.
And he's pulling from his personal life. He's writing from what he knows.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had an elephant and we've had a hippopotamus. I don't think that's an unfair assumption.
No. Or he goes to zoos a lot because he's attracted to animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cracking one out to the penguins.
Yeah.
So what we have here is Ozzy cleaning up his act and turning into a total fucking poser. I mean, if he wasn't one already, he's in fact not even a poser anymore. He's a loser that merely wants to be a poser. The aggression of the songs is completely missing. Most of this album can barely be called metal. Plus, if it turns out he wasn't wearing any pants during the album cover photo shoot, I wouldn't be surprised. So we've come full circle.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that Ozzy's naked on the album cover. And to be fair, there's no proof of that.
No. I don't even know. I was like, I always assumed he was wearing something in the picture. I never really looked at it that closely.
Guys, I'm not gay. I'm just attracted to animals. Stop calling me gay. You know.
And I only like the female animals.
Yeah, I was going to say, I only fuck the girl dogs. Oh, man. Right, you can chime in with a positive.
Oh, I don't even know where to go. Like and I don't know if this is even that entertaining to like.
Holy,
like for you don't even you go. I'm this is.
Dude, there are people brigading Vulgar Display of Power. There are so many negative reviews of Vulgar Display of Power. What the fuck?
Well, I feel like.
Well,
so here's the thing, because it's the internet, and
true.
Once the singer of an album says white power in a fucking get together at an event, people are going to go and talk shit, and it's going to be in the form of reviewing your classic albums and calling them shit. Not to excuse what Phil Anselmo did, because fuck that, like 100%.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch Pantera last night. At the show they played, I was standing in a merch line the entire. I watched Suicidal Tendencies, and then I went to get merch. My wife was with me, and then we went back in for Metallica because I saw quote unquote Pantera a couple years ago, and they played the same shit. So
okay,
and it's just Phil and Selma wandering around barefoot, half-ass singing a song. Which is fine. To each their own. If you enjoy it, then great.
Okay, tell you what. I'm gonna pull a little further afield. I'm gonna I'm gonna go with Dio, and I'm gonna.
Dio has rocked for a long time.
Now it's time to pass the torch. Okay, so there is a 50% on Holy Diver.
So these are weird because I don't know his albums very well. So I won't have that much of an opinion about them, but I mean we can listen to them.
Tell you what, how about this? I'm going to scroll through. I have open here as like a little prompt for some albums that are pretty big. And I've got Rolling Stone. I mean, it's the Rolling Stone list, but I thought it would be a good little prompt. I've got here Rolling Stone's 100 metal albums of all time. It's got some big ones on here, and I thought it'd be a good little prompt. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna scroll until I find an album that you're like, ooh, look at that one.
Okay. Okay.
Merciful Fate, Melissa, Tool, Anima, Anthrax, Among the Living. And Justice for All, Too Fast for Love, Mötley Crüe.
That's not going to be in there.
Danzig. Actually, Mötley Crüe is. Strangely, Mötley Crüe is on.
Oh, man.
Should we look at Mötley Crüe?
Yeah, let's look at a Mötley Crüe.
Mötley Crüe, I believe, is like one of the only glam bands that is on here.
Yeah, just whatever album you want to talk about. Because, of the first 5 or whatever. What do you? I mean, maybe we should do "Shout at the Devil" and look to see if there's a negative review of "Shout at the Devil" because that's like the one that I think a lot of people agree is their best.
There's a 42% on "Shout at the Devil," or there is a 20% on "Dr. Feelgood."
Oh yeah, go there. Yeah, because I love Dr. Feelgood. I mean, it has a couple throwaway tracks, but yeah.
No, we talked about this one last time. I remember it.
Okay.
Because kids, drugs are good for you sometimes.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah,
let's go. Let's go to the "Shout at the Devil." Let's talk. Let's because
Okay, let's have a look here. Shout at the devil. Shout. Shout at the devil.
Something like that.
Okay, here we go. This is a review for Shout at the Devil by Mötley Crüe from Expert, spelt X.
Ooh, yeah.
74. February 25th, 2006. I would have been coming up for 8 years old. And this is titled Speed the Fuck Up, God damn it. It's 42%.
Once again, even from the title of the review, I'm like, why are you listening to this album? Maybe you should be listening to some fast bands.
Yeah. So here we go. We have, I swear, this album is way too fucking mid-paced and repetitive for its own good. The songs tend to just drone on and on with the drums never going beyond bass snare.
Except for Bastard and Red Hot. And I mean, but that would be people would actually have to listen to the album in order to know that.
Also, if we're gonna say that bass snare, what are most beats? Like,
I prefer the metal bands where they don't use drums.
Yeah, even in a fast band, it would just be bass snare, or like some variation of that. So that's a moot point, as they would say. Is that right?
Also, who calls it bass? It's a kick. It's a kick drum.
Yeah,
Come on,
kick. So, apart from Red Hot, which brings slightly faster double bass, listening to this album from song to song reminds me of the dreaded time I was forced to listen to Linkin Park's Meteora. Granted, I'll give it that this album is not as repetitive as Linkin Park, nor as horrible, but it's still not all that good either. Even for its time, this isn't all that fast. Like,
but who said it was supposed to be fast? The album is not called "Hey, this album's fast."
Even for its time, this isn't all that fast. Judas Priest, Venom, Diamond Head, and even Quiet Riot were faster than this. Now, before you go and think I only want fast as fuck grind or whatever, I don't mind mid-paced stuff, as long as it's interesting enough and doesn't take precedence over an entire album. This album falls in that regard, just like Metallica's Seek and Destroy.
Okay.
This album is basically Seek and Destroy made long enough to be an entire album, with Red Hot being the one short fast part. First up, after the intro, Shout at the Devil. From how I had heard everyone talk about this song, I was expecting some really fast, heavy metal song. So this guy thinks it was going to be a thrash album and got a glam metal album instead. But I instead got an extremely dull song that is barely even metal. Shut the fuck up! Like, listen to Sabbath. The first metal was slow.
Yeah.
Is a really weak riff set dominates this.
Nobody likes a "That's Not Metal" guy. Nobody likes that.
Following this is Looks That Kill, which would be good if they didn't stay at the same speed for 4 fucking minutes.
Oh, because most songs rapidly speed up or slow down or whatever.
Oh, it's just, oh my god. Just listen to Slayer, my god. There is an easy fix for this. This is almost like background music fitting for a movie where there's some scene in an 80s rock bar, but just to listen to the song itself is agony. By the end of this song, I'm itching to turn this off and throw on some Stained Class, but not all of Stained.
Once again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He's mentioning Stained Class because he only remembers 2 songs from Stained Class.
Yeah, dude, like Beyond the Realms of Death, fucking Better by You, Better Than Me. There's so many slow moments on that album.
All I know is that like. This is what I'm saying. Most people need to just like go get some other hobby. Because it's just like, yeah. So they came into this album not wanting to listen to this album, and then are comparing it to albums that they clearly don't know very well. So, congrats on that.
So here we have, but then I see the next song is called Bastard, so I expect a more aggressive song. A fading in drum solo starts this off, and then a riff that's probably the fastest so far comes in, yet it's still only in the faster range of mid-paced. Then the verses come in, and the guitars drop out at points. The song gets slightly faster at a couple points, but is still kind of boring. This guy's entire, like, scoring system is fast, good, slow, bad.
Also, he doesn't like it when the guitars do something different. Like he wants literally just constant riffing.
Yeah. So this song,
because the groove of the verses on that song is fucking awesome. But he's talking about when they stop for a second, and I'm just like, oh Jesus Christ, okay.
So the song gets slightly faster at a couple points, but is still kind of boring. Then there's yet another fade out. That's 3 fade outs so far for 3 songs. And just before all the fade outs, the drums start doing double bass.
You know all those Judas Priest songs that don't fade out?
Yeah.
They do fade out.
It's as if these guys think that double bass is supposed to indicate the song is over. God Bless the Children of the Beast comes on and is basically an interlude track, kind of similar to the intro. Then comes in Helter Skelter, which is a Beatles cover, and again is still mid-paced. It fits in. Let's put that. It fits in. Anyway. So it fits in with the rest of the songs on the album, so it doesn't sound out of place or anything. But in this case, that's a bad thing. Next up is Red Hot. Finally, things get faster. This song has a couple of slower riffs, but enough faster chugging riffs, along with a nice solo section, and this is pretty decent overall. Along with the fact that it ends without a fade out. Too Young to Fall in Love follows this, and this is mid-paced again. Yet this is a pretty damn good song. It's one of the singles off the album, and it serves its purpose. It's nice and catchy without sounding boring or annoying. Unfortunately, Knock 'Em Dead Kid starts the suckage again. It's very repetitive and it's just blah, like most of the album. At least it doesn't fade out like nearly every song here. Then Mötley Crüe plays the song over again under the title 10 Seconds to Love. It's about as easy to tell that these 2 songs apart as it is to tell 2 Von songs apart.
Who?
Von. V-O-N.
Okay.
Ending the album is Danger, which is kind of a power ballad with some
Is it?
I don't know if it is. No, I'm not sure. But let's have a look. With some synths brought in. This song is good, partly because it stands out from the rest of the album. Although I don't really like the way Vince Neil sings Danger in the chorus. Like, danger in kind of a muted way. And then the song ends with no fade out. So far we have 2 things this guy likes. Fast, not fading out.
And I guarantee that a lot of songs that he loves fade out. But, you know,
and are slow.
or whatever.
If you have the re-released version of this album, then you'll get to hear some demo versions of Shout at the Devil, Looks That Kill, Too Young to Fall in Love, and Hotter Than Hell, which would later be done as Louder Than Hell. You also get an unreleased song, I Will Survive. None of these bonus tracks are at all special, although I Will Survive would stand out somewhat even if it were included in the original version of this album, especially with that freaky ending to the song. The lyrics on this album are pretty much the typical glam metal fare with songs about Hollywood, sex, and girls. There's a couple of pseudo-satanic moments, but those don't really take precedence over the album, though one might be led to believe that based on the imagery the band uses, pentagrams and fire mixed in with the glam look of the band, who look like a bunch of flat-chested girls. So overall, should you get this? I say no. But if you think Iron Maiden is way too fucking fast to be enjoyed by any normal human being, then this might be your thing. This is also important for collectors and people who want to have albums for their historical importance, or anything related. Otherwise, this album really only has a few good songs like Red Hot, Too Young to Fall in Love, and Danger, along with a bunch of mediocre songs that all run together. If you're looking for some early glam metal that doesn't all sound the same, then look elsewhere. Wow. Breaking news, Mötley Crüe not a speed metal band.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate to break it to you, dude. It's exhausting listening to these reviews because it's just like, like these are all people that like I wish that I had enough time and like I could just find them and have a conversation with them, because like everything would just fall apart within a minute or two. Because it's just like, did you want to listen to this album? Do you like any music that sounds like this music? Why did you listen to this, and why did you write a review? What are you giving to the world? You're doing nothing. Nothing. Anyway. Absolutely nothing.
Dun, dun.
Anyway.
Dun, dun. Okay, so we keeping this thing going, or
I guess let's do one more. Let's find a big one to wrap it up with.
All right, let's think.
And maybe we ended on a high note. Why don't we find a really big album and find a really great review so we can just all agree and high five each other, and then everything will be right with the world.
I'm going to type in worst metal albums, and then I'm going to try and find a good review of it.
Obviously, Saint Anger is going to be at the top of the list.
Okay. Actually, you know what?
What?
I've had an idea. In keeping with the recent Load box set, I'm going to find the most positive review of Load.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah, I like this idea.
So, let's have a look here. 100%. I'm going to keep scrolling from the top.
Oh, I thought you just found 100% review of Load.
Oh, if I do, I'm reading that one.
Yeah.
Right, the Lightning Fuel. There are a lot of Metallica ones still going. Okay, King Nothing. Starting to see. Oh, there's some Saint Angers with 96 and 95s. Load, nice. Load 95%.
All right, Load 95. Let's do it.
Okay,
God
here we
damn
go.
it, baby, no, I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, dude.
It's getting us ready to go.
Okay. So this is a review of Load by Metallica called There Is an Integrity to This, 95% by Olympic Sharpshooter, February 3rd, 2004.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. I'm not really surprised I'm the first person to give this album a high review score, but it does annoy me when this album is derided as commercial or simple, because it isn't. Granted, there were a bunch of singles from this album, but so what? This album is anything but easy. Metallica has been making difficult records from day one, excepting the Black Album. The holy trinity of the albums 1 to 3 had no compromise and no remorse, as they steamrolled every other metal act on the planet to become the biggest underground metal act of all time. And Justice for All was an extremely grueling tour de force of embryonic progressive thrash. The record hit number 7 and scored a top 40 single, but there is no one on this planet who would call it radio friendly.
No.
Load follows in this tradition, in my opinion, because of its musical progression from what came before, because of its lack of compromise. Yeah, lack of compromise, is what I said. I don't mean to say it's a thrash record because it's anything but. It's a mid-tempo grooves galore, grooves, the horror, and only the opener and a few scant sections of really open throttle, and not in the traditional fight fire with fire fashion, but in many ways it's just as difficult as the Justice record. First of all, it's a marathon record clocking in at something like 78 minutes, and although it has a few radio-ready singles, Hero of the Day, King Nothing, Until It Sleeps, they tend to be butted in between marathon epics and off-kilter experimentation. The album is all about slow burning momentum, in the way a Doom record is, even if the sounds are worlds apart. It's almost overwhelming, this loose and bassy state that slowly smothers the listener as it rolls inexorably from solid riff to riff. In the midst of this are a bunch of strange acoustic intros anyway, numbers, from the tombstone gloom of Mama Said to the bouncy aggression of Waste My Hate. That, along with Ain't My Bitch and Cure, proves the album does indeed have a pulse. Also of note are the rare, on this album anyway, flashes of humour on Poor Twisted Me, a self-pitying paean, how do you say that? P-A-E-A-N. Pine? Paean?
P-A-E-A-N. That's P-A-N? P-A-N?
Paean? Pyong. Okay, a self-pitying
Clearly we're not the
noise.
smartest bunch of people, because it's like, what is that word? Look it up.
So, a self-pitying to those who swim in depression. I'm looking at you, Miss Rubber Suicide Razor. Load in...
What?
I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but I like this
Miss
review,
Rubber Suicide Razor?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to look into that.
Okay.
But Load enjoys some of the best production Metallica has had. Agreed.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Less than the ultra-produced self-titled, but thankfully more than the non-production of Saint Anger and Injustice for All. The album is startlingly heavy, probably because Jason Newsted, and for that matter the bass guitar, finally has an equal part in the mix. Not everything here is good as cool.
The Black Album, let's be fair.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to really heap praise on this record.
Yeah.
Not everything here is good, of course. 2x4 is the worst thing the band ever wrote.
What?
I'm a disagree there. He said, ever. It's so mind-numbingly dumb and dull.
Everybody knows it's Low Man's Lyric is the worst thing they ever wrote.
Oh, damn! So, I don't think I've listened to it in a year at least. It's practically on auto skip. And Cure is a waste of a good riff. Hetfield taking poor lyrics and then making them even worse by giving out dance instructions on Cross Your Arms. What is this? The Metallica Arena? Okay, that's at least a creative joke. Kudos to the breaking the law.
I never heard the phrase uncross your arms in that song and thought it was telling the listener to do something.
I think he's just trying to be a goofy guy.
I guess.
Kudos to the breaking the law-ish lead break, though. Hero of the Day is a little weak, perhaps the only real blatantly commercial song on the record. I'm a disagree. I think that's a really cool song.
Yeah, it's an amazingly well-written song, and I wouldn't call it commercial at all, except for the fact that it's major key. It's basically it.
And I like the fact that it's in a major key. It's not reprehensible, but it sounds like they were aiming for a big We Are the Champions type arena sports anthem, which in hindsight they seem to have achieved. Compare Hero to the sublime ballad Until It Sleeps, featuring one of James's best performances.
Until It Seeps. That is a very different song.
That's an erectile dysfunction hand job right there. Compare Hero to the sublime ballad Until It Sleeps, featuring one of James's best performances ever, and it simply wilts. The Outlaw Torn is an epic that can stand up to the biggest classics of yesteryear and look it in the eye. The whole song has such a dramatic sweep that you feel lost in it, and the majestic Behind Blue Eyes style climax was made for the stage, eclipsed only by the live S&M version. Bleeding Me is another one of those songs that nails you to the floor, particularly the godly metallic break that underscores the metal in Metallica, something admittedly missing from this record. Finally, a mention must be made for Ronnie, a booze and blues groove that features a rusty riff and sing-song melody that sticks in my mind for miles and miles and miles. This record is a really brave step from Metallica. Compromise would be sticking to the out-and-out metal if it wasn't what the band felt like playing. Though the myriad twists and turns of the catalogue, through the myriad twists and turns of the catalogue, they rarely gave the impression of writing for the sake of money or fame. Mm-hmm. Conventional wisdom following the success of the Black Album would be more of the same. Instead, we get this smoky,
exactly the same thing that I've always said. If you're really trying to cater to an audience and quote unquote sell out or whatever, they would have done an album a little closer to Injustice for All after Injustice for All.
Yeah,
they would not have, because there was no magic 8-ball that was telling them, if you do these slower, shorter songs, everyone's gonna love it. There was no like, everything that they've done has literally just been, let's just do it and see what happens. And unfortunately, when you become successful, people look at it as selling out. But whatever.
Yeah. So where am I at near the end here? This Compromise would be sticking to the out and out metal if it wasn't what the band felt like playing. Through the myriad twists and turns of the catalogue, they rarely give the impression of writing for the sake of money or fame. Conventional wisdom following the success of the Black Album would be more of the same. Mm-hmm. Instead, we get this smoky, low-slung, and weighty album of earth tones and withering energy. On Reload, they showed us a more alternative metal face, less about personal problems and more about unconventionally jumpy songs. After that, they made a move that flew in the face of convention and released the clanging fury of Saint Anger. Metallica may not be the same band they were in 1983 musically, but that spirit of integrity persists and shines through to this very day. Standouts, Outlaw Torn, Until It Sleeps, Ronnie. I think that is a great review of this album.
It's a great review, and like you made me. We'll wrap this up with more Metallica talk before we before we leave, because I always like talking about them. But seeing them in concert last night, I really do think that their live shows are so enjoyable because of all the different music that they have done. Mm-hmm. So like they played a few songs from Ride the Lightning, and it was cool. It's my favorite album of all time. So you hear them and you're like, they sound great and blah blah blah. And then they go into Memory Remains, and I was just like, oh, and it sounds so good. And some of those songs, you hear them so much but just sitting there in that room and listening to the song kind of unfold, I was just like, this is such a great fucking song. And I'm so glad they wrote songs like this, because it makes a more dynamic show. And so it's like, and I think that probably goes with my mentality of how I think of bands and their discographies. I don't immediately compare every album with another album. But I think about it as, well, when I think about it, when I lay everything out in front of me, like, how entertaining is this, and how cool is it if I go from one album to another, one track to another? What kind of a experience is that? And they're obviously they're not the only band that's like that, but there are, but that's just something that I really appreciate for any band. I just like, and I think that just makes a better fucking live show than, as much as I love, death metal bands and all that stuff. I went to go see Cannibal Corpse, but after like half of the show, you're like, well, this is kind of, they're doing the same thing for an hour. As good as it is, it doesn't hold my attention as much as other bands do, because I like the fact that there's a ebb and a flow. And I know that's not for everybody, so that's good. That's fine. But I just think it's dumb to discount that kind of stuff just because you don't like it. Like, it's just, yeah. Anyway.
Something I find as well, like, as a member of a band and as a songwriter and as an artist and doing all of the things involved, arranging, producing, recording, performing, all of these things, it's great to never pigeonhole yourself. Like, we were always pretty nebulous with, like, the band I'm in, Sage. And we never really set out to say that we are just flat out I guess the main thing you would call us is groove metal.
Yeah.
That is probably the most central thing, but like there's a strong grunge influence there. There's thrash in our sound. There's a little bit of doom there. And honestly, like, I just want to keep adding to that.
Yeah. I really think I may have said this when you guys put out the album, is that it's almost like if you took Facelift and made it a groove metal album. Like, that's kind of what I get from it.
And the thing I'm really excited about is that we're already well into the pre-production of album 2.
Sweet.
And already some of the songs, like there's 3 songs I've noticed, and we've landed on a song structure that we particularly like, and that's having verse, chorus, and then get a little weird with it, and then just end. Not coming back for the chorus, just seeing what happens.
Sometimes not coming back for a chorus is really fucking great. And the opposite is also great sometimes too.
Yeah. So I've noticed that 3 of the songs we have coming up, we've structured in a way that they're all completely different types of songs, but they all end with a big grand finale breakdown ending.
Yeah.
And they're very riff focused breakdowns as well. We're not just talking like tog, 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 stuff like that. We basically had a bunch of low and slow riffs, and we're like, these would be good grand finale moments. And we're always looking to look at our stuff and go, what haven't we done yet?
Yeah.
And I think Metallica is a driving force behind our thinking, is like, well, they did new shit on Ride the Lightning, they did new shit on Justice, they did new shit on the Black Album, they did it with Load.
To be fair, they've done new shit on every album, even though with the last couple ones they've kind of gotten to this smaller lane that they're working with. But each album, I could point out something where I go, I don't think I've heard anything like this from them before.
Yeah. So, and I would go as far as to say I think that 72 Seasons is the best sounding album since the Load era. Do you think you'd agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it overall it sounds better than Hardwired to me. I enjoy the sound of Death Magnetic more than all of those albums, but I do understand its weaknesses and why it doesn't work for some people. So that makes sense. But yeah, if you're just talking about laying it out there, like, arguably this sounds good, I would say probably the 72 Seasons is it.
Speaking of sounding good, that September 95 Canada performance of Devil's Dance, have you seen that?
Not yet, no. I'm about to dive into the whole fucking box, so.
Dude, I watched it. Their sound guy during that era, I don't know if it's still the same dude, needs a fucking raise, man. That seriously, man, just watch the first. Tell you what, we're doing a live reaction right now. Fuck it. I'm gonna send this to you.
We can't put it on the video though.
You can't put it on the video, but seriously, I need you to get a second opinion of just this. Just listen to a little snippet of this song performed during this era.
Well, I'm gonna do it on my computer so it comes through my headphones.
Okay, cool.
And then maybe I won't have to cut out the. Okay, I'm okay with leaving Messenger. Thank you.
Okay.
Why is it not coming through my headphones? All right, I'm gonna mute this.
Oh, okay.
Once I get, it's all of a sudden the Eagles. Okay, all right, here they are. All right, cool. Hold on. That bass sounds fucking awesome.
I know. It sounds so fucking fat. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's from that show that they did in that Canadian city. Tuktoyaktuk or something. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Tuk.
It's a very remote part of Canada. They played with Hole and Veruca Salt and
Wow.
Moist, I think was the other band. But yeah, I think that whole performance is on one of the DVDs, which is cool. Yeah, that sounds good. That's the thing is that, I mean, I'll throw it to last night. Literally 60-year-old dudes in that room in an arena or a fucking stadium, even bigger than an arena. But just the sound was fucking massive. And when they get into those groovier parts, it just sounds fucking amazing, dude.
It's incredible.
Anyway, Metallica. It's Metallica time on Old Head because that's what's happening right now. More Metallica coming soon from Old Head because he's fucking,
yeah. There's more content.
Yep. Speaking of that, that's that Mission Impossible fucking thing. I saw that Mission Impossible movie just came out. It was fucking good.
Nice. Sweet.
Anyway. Where are we? Okay, we're done. We're done. This has been Reviewculous 3.
Yes, we have completed our assignment.
Yeah, I can't give it we did it because we didn't rank anything, but I can give it this.
He fucking left the band!
So, because we might as well, since it's so much Metallica talk. Anyway, so I think this is Reviewculous 3. When you look at the title of the episode, I'll research it so you'll know that that's true or not true. It may say 4, but I don't think we've done that many. Anyway, so comment in the YouTube world. Comment, like, do you guys like these? It's like looser and we're just reading some reviews and reacting to them. I feel like it's probably fun. But sometimes when we don't have like an actual like goal and a plan, sometimes I feel like, are people going to get bored? People are going to get bored of this. But if you're still here and you're a peanut butter platypus, aluminium squirrel, Belvedere ball sitter, or Christmas dog, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. You guys fucking rule. And we've got plenty more in store for you. In fact, where are you on Galactic Cowboys at this point?
I burned down the first 2 albums today. And,
okay, don't say anything to me. So,
all I'll say is, nice.
yeah. So yeah, next time you see us, we're gonna rank the Galactic Cowboys, which is a band that more people should know. So I'm very glad that we're talking about them next time. So we'll see you then for another actual Cranked and Ranked for Galactic Cowboys. Thank you for watching. I already said that. And as usual, Mr. Young Balls is going to step in here and going to give you a little bit of like end of show flavor like we always do. It wouldn't be right without it. And so I'm going to throw it over to Eddie Sparks to take us out.
Later, dude.